another Tuesday. It is February 11th, around lunchtime. Um, and
Are
what are
you
we doing
hungry?
today? We have here our co host, Laura.
Hi, everyone. Um, Around lunchtime, I just told you I'm hungry. Uh, and you reminded me that.
I
Today,
reminded you that you're hungry.
exciting times. Um, I think I don't know where is this phrase coming from, but because we have all of this amount of information that we get every day, but we have never been at this state of evolution um, ever, right? There's no precedent of our now,
Oh
I
yeah,
guess.
yeah. It's
And
never. Today's the best day.
yes, there is absolutely no the precedent. And I think this topic of emerging technology is super exciting. It for anyone that is always improving and trying to succeed and waking up every day with the consistency to give out their best outside, I think that it will always be fascinating. So I don't know how, Eric. I told you you need to explain you need to explain this.
I'll help. I'll help.
Yes. we for anyone just referring to my inside joke, we were just reviewing the topic for today, which is AI. I think it's super great that we are also, you know, making progress with projects with clients that are doing and implementing tools that we believe in. And so, welcome everyone to this growth cycle series.
Yeah. And so remember what the series is all about. What this workshop is all about. We didn't change the name. What were we gonna do? We were gonna do
Oh,
techno Tuesdays or what?
I forgot.
Techno
Techno
happy hour.
happy hour. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have this drink. You don't know what is in there.
Oh,
So
what's in there?
nothing. It's
Now
just
I have an excuse to buy beers, I guess.
yes. So I like the word techno. You're right. I missed it today for a moment. I forgot. But this
Yeah.
is a hour that would like to invest into anyone that would like to hear us and have any questions about technology.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is for everyone. This is your happy hour to talk tech. All right. So last time we spoke about ROI and how to get it out of your software and how technical debt plays with ROI and things like that. So um, today we're going to talk about some emerging tech, which is all about what?
AI.
It's all AI.
What is AI anyway? So while in this quest of information, which is uh, kind of in different pieces and in different types of outlets, I ask ChatGPT, DeepSeek, and every little tool we use to understand it, and I made some prompts that were hilarious. I think you guys should do that too on their everyday whatever you're challenging. There are chat GPT prompts everywhere now.
Oh
So
yeah.
I had fun
There's
with that.
actually there's libraries. There's like repository libraries.
Yes.
Um,
I know this
it's fun.
developer, uh she has this repository in GitHub and I think it's Sabrina, but she's very clever. I just love, and then I use this other guy, Bon Norton also. to go through content because in my case, I'm just going through, those specific ones. I
Exactly.
know that you guys do others.
Yeah, we're reading the documentation that you guys are listening about a couple of days later.
Sort of, exactly.
Because they need the time to edit and do all that, and they got to do the work. When you they're actually getting, they can probably get it out in the same day. I guess it depends on what time of the day the news comes out of, as well. Because if it comes out at 7 in the evening, you probably won't hear anything about it until the morning.
Right.
But they're using AI for that too.
It is.
So understanding the
AI
big
is
picture,
everywhere.
the
I wanted to
evolution.
put a little snapshot of where we've been in this thing for a while now.
We've been trying to recreate intelligence for a while.
Hmm. And it's just, I think it's amazing how human curiosity has just made from this very simple. That's why this word rule-based system like have stuck in my mind. Like, oh my god, this is like the principle of AI, which has made it more complicated, obviously. But
Well,
it's
that's what we do. We've created some
yes.
rules in our head, some rule-based system in our brain as
Hmm.
to how we live.
Operate, yeah.
Yeah.
Live, operation, C is the same. It's like just different language.
Beep boop beep boop.
Beep,
So
beep.
yeah.
That's
um,
funny. Okay.
so that was 1950s. Then we go into the 1980s, with some expert systems, which is just trying to figure out to mimic like some human, um,
That,
expertise, usually done in like some high level medical diagnosis or finances, some things that can be defined as yes or no, right?
large scale mostly. These were expert system. I mean, we've been doing good stuff for a while now too. So when it comes to the expertise, I'm just thinking out loud in terms of the manufacturing era that happened throughout those years also, and how massively we achieve big success in many companies, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And then in '97, AI beats someone at chess.
Yes. That just made
Gary
me think
Kasparov.
about, yeah. This made me think about the capacity in which we do not have all of the answers. That's what really was, because this guy was good. So,
Yeah, I mean AI beats me in the games anyways nowadays.
wow, it's a big statement, Eric. But you know what? Who uses AI to get the right answer? It's
Everyone.
you. No. When you say AI is beating you, but who's using it?
No, no,
I don't know.
in games, in video games. When I yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
right. Okay. Now I get it. Okay, okay. Yeah, you have a point.
Yeah. It's just because I'm not good enough anymore. I can't play. I'm bad. Um. All right. So breakthrough in neural networks. So connected neural networks gain significant popularity due to AlexNext's breakthrough. So that's with the visual recognition. And then in
Richard.
2024, which like where was where was the big all the advertisement for this, right? The Nobel Peace Prize for Physics for AI pioneers. It's pretty
Yep.
cool. That was last year.
That was just last year. I only heard from well, there's obviously a market share that follows this type of news and trends, right?
Yeah,
Obviously out of it, but I thought that was amazing, the work for all of these people who laid the ground for many understandings that we have now. And I just think we, again, right, we made this conclusion. We haven't really figured anything out. We just made it just
Better.
better. Exactly. And improved.
Yeah. John Hopfield and Geoffrey Hinton were awarded the Nobel Prize in Physics for their formulation of brain inspired artificial neural networks. So, what is it?
Okay.
It's
Simple words?
teaching machines how to think and act like humans since the 1950s.
Yes.
So, yeah, and that's all it is. It's just a computer that can guess kind of what it is you want back, based on what you asked, right? So it has some form of understanding, and then it pulls that from a data set, which is very big, and um, and and provide you that response back.
Yep. Definitely.
And then for the next one, we have a diagram to kind of showcase how that works. But um, machine learning, neural networks, deep learning, they're all itself. They're all AI. You need all of them to create a good artificial intelligence. So we'll talk about that in here in a little bit. Um,
What
but
I
it's
didn't
yeah
mention here, Eric, was I think that the most impressive thing that AI has done to just about anyone that has encountered or has, made any interaction with it is the linguistic part. What has come to be kind of like the understanding of the machine with you. I think that's the most impressive thing.
yeah, and that's where it just has more data.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that um, because we're now using it, they're able to collect a lot
More.
of data. And so
Right.
it's just going to continue to get better, and they're just um, there's just a lot of data to be collected, right? And the more that they do, and the more that it's helpful, it's the we're the reinforcement learning. The human is the reinforcement learning, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we want to create artificial general intelligence, then we must create something that observes us and analyzes our movements and speech and all aspects of it, so that it could also behave in a similar fashion, right?
Mm-hmm. So
And
I
so it needs
am.
a lot of humans.
Mm-hmm. And it was what was even more impressive is that I think that we take for granted how much you live the internet in a different way. Because I encountered this web page that had in which I just, you know what, I don't remember the web page, but I literally just put in some keywords and it gave me back everything that in real world and the live perspective of people, making content about that, and it analyzed its sentiment. So there's obviously that part. We've never seen this before. I mean, this is the first time I see it, but in maybe in the past, someone else had access to it, and it wasn't able to portray that in a web page in a friendly way enough for me to understand it, right? It was only a statistical analysis. But I thought, okay, so this is a neutral point of view about something. This is a bias center something about something, and I thought that was incredible because it just gave the human an outlet to think, to make us think. So that's amazing.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
No, man, it's we are we are the currency. We are the data.
Well, I think, wasn't this guy from the economic singularity? I'm gonna type in. He said that a lot of time ago. Singularity. Callum Chase. I read that book in, wow, a while ago, and he said that. So it's almost as if we're living that. We're living that now. I thought this was your favorite subject, Eric.
Wow. No, I'm reading this. I'm reading what you said
Oh, about this
about Caleb
guy?
Chase. Yeah, I'm reading the synopsis right
Yes.
now. It
Okay.
says artificial intelligence is overtaking our human ability to absorb and process information. Robots are becoming increasingly dexterous, flexible, and safe to be around, except the military ones.
Oh.
It is our most powerful technology, and you need to understand it. This book argues that within a few decades, most humans will not be able to work for money. Self driving cars will probably be the canary in the coal mine, providing a wake up call for everyone who isn't yet paying attention. All jobs will be affected, from fast food, make jobs, to lawyers and journalists.
Guess
This
when this
is,
was published?
I'm trying to read. Where is it? Where was this published?
This was 10 years ago.
Yeah, he, I got to do some research on him. He probably had some insight. If he was
Oh,
working with
I
AI, he
bet.
probably knew where it was going.
Hmm.
Um,
Now, there were some, I gotta say that from the perspective of I understand that there is a lot of, I'm trying to be neutral on people that are being affected by this, obviously, because,
mhm.
there we have to be human too, and I have the ability to say it's not always going to be looked at the very positive way. But he did say, that the job were being impacted, and he did say that we would become the currency. He did say there were some really scary statements, obviously.
Well, I mean, if
But
it's just it's what he said, the way you received it was you probably imagined it scary, but
mm-hmm,
there's a lot of positives as
mm-hmm.
well. Um,
Now you
it's
just
just a
said,
it's just a balance. It's just a
yes,
rebalance.
you just said something very key and thoughtful, and he concluded the book with saying, we will, oh, like we have always done it, we will just do something else,
Right.
because then, because we have so much inside of people, maybe we would create something new for for everyone, right?
Correct.
So I thought he had, like, super great insights. That was a great book. Super great book.
Everyone's gonna get their AI passports.
Oh, are we at that pace? And maybe we should. He was.
Maybe that's the future. We'll see what
Yes.
happens. The decisions are being made now, so we'll see what
Yeah.
happens.
I think governance is a very critical point to talk about, right?
Oh, I love
I
this.
Yeah. Instead of going to the, the big things, here's what AI has to say about plotting the word domination.
Relax. I struggled to remember what we talked about 5 minutes ago. If I were building an evil empire, I'd probably forget the password. That's
There
what
you
he said.
go.
He was like, I don't have a big enough context window.
That's so funny. It brings it brings me back to that thought. We shared this a while ago, and it is about the intention, right?
Yeah.
Um, at the end of the day, we humans are using AI for good or bad. I think you mentioned this,
I mean, there's more. There's always more good. I would believe. I
obviously.
hope. I
Yes,
hope there's
me
always more
too.
good than bad, and I think for the most part, what we see it being used for has been. I mean, just the advancements and what they've been able to find in the science and the medical field just within the
Yes,
past couple of years, right? So I think it's going to be really for the best. We can
me
stop
too.
stop we'll be I hope I see where we'll be able to focus on the things that are more important.
Mm-hmm.
So how it works, so you need a lot of data. A lot of data. So it learns from massive data sets. um, the way it learns, it's not that it's learning, it's where they're fine tuning or trying to create an algorithm um, that can provide the information for those massive data sets in a more common fashion. And then, of course, that there are already algorithms to be used to create the algorithms that now recognize the patterns. So that's essentially what the whole industry is. And then training and learning, we have supervised and unsupervised. And then I have some examples of the difference between supervised and unsupervised. Um, so let's imagine we have to teach a kid, right, how to recognize different animals. So for supervised learning, this is like showing a kid a bunch of flashcards with pictures of animals, and on each one of the each one has a label, right? So you hold up a flashcard that says this is a dog, and you hold up another flashcard that says this is a cat, and then another one and you say this is a lion. And so the kids learn by seeing the examples and the correct answers. And then later you show them a new picture and they have to guess based on what they've learned. And it's like, okay, hey, that's a cat. Like, okay, they're reading it, right? So a real world example is spam filters. So they learn from email labels as spam or not spam, right?
Mm-hmm. My
Um,
favorite.
everyone's favorite. And then you have face recognition. So now the model is trained with labeled images of people's faces. And so when it sees that face again, I'm like, oh, yes, that's Eric or that's Laura. Right. So that's kind of the supervised version. Um, and so the iPhone does this really, really nicely because um, they did that with your iCloud photos, right? So now, if you have contacts that now have their iCloud synced, right, as
Mm-hmm.
contacts between the two, um, and then you go to your messages or you go to your pictures and you go to the search bar, and then it brings up all of these people's faces. And so
Yes.
now but their contact picture. So now you can
Mm-hmm.
select on the picture, and it brings that in, right? So that's a really neat way to go about it. That was a and I love how Apple did that. That was just a subtle
That word.
experience. It's a very
Yes.
subtle experience into, hey, you're using AI and you have no idea that you've been using
For a
AI
while now.
for a while. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I think it didn't it all started with Facebook though, kind of. I think they were kind of pioneers, right? Because I remember they were suggesting, or maybe it was around the same time. I think I don't
Maybe it
remember
was all it's
vividly.
I think maybe it's been a competition this whole time. It's been with
Yes,
pictures
true.
with yeah, because before um all the way up to TikTok, and even I mean it's just who has the best algorithm, right?
Right.
And so um obviously the winning algorithm is the one that is of general intelligence, because that is the that is the three-dimensional algorithm, which can now interact with the real world. Um, and so that's the algorithm that kind of surpasses the other algorithms because it can use the other algorithms to leverage
Yes.
its tasks, right? So it's always been about who has the best approach of how AI is supposed to work. So I guess we started with things that are more simple, right? Flashcards. What animal is this, right? Which face is this, right? And so now it's kind of just taking that algorithm, those types of algorithms and trainings, and apply them to a different aspect, right? What else can I compare? What else can I get an algorithm or can I recognize the patterns for? Um, so that's supervised learning. Then unsupervised learning. So now you imagine you give a kid a pile of pictures, but don't tell them what's in them. And you ask
Mm.
them, can you group similar pictures together? And so the kid might notice patterns and say, well, these animals have 4 legs and fur, so they must be similar, right? And so you have a dog, cat, lion, they're all together. And then the kid says, these ones have feathers. Maybe they belong together. So then you have all the birds together and stuff like that. So even though they don't know the exact names, they find structure in the data, right? So, real world example of this is customer segmentation. So, store group shoppers
Mm-hmm.
based on their buying habits. You also have anomaly detection. So, banks detect fraud by spotting unusual transactions and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, some key differences here between supervised and unsupervised is that you teach the labeled examples, right? So for supervised, that's you teach the labeled examples. For unsupervised, the model kind of just
Conclusion.
yeah,
Conclude.
pushes and yeah, finds
Mm-hmm.
patterns on its own and says, well, these based on what you gave me, these are all together and stuff like that. And so that's kind of how supervised and unsupervised training works. And then we have reinforcement learning, right? So reinforcement learning is a great example with like training a dog because you use treats and scolding. So you have positive reinforcement and you have
Good
negative
AI. Good
bad AI,
AI.
right? And then you hit it. You hit it with the newspapers. Bad
Bad
AI.
AI.
So how it works? So imagine you have a puppy, and you're teaching it tricks. So if it sits, when you say sit, you give it a treat as a reward, right? If it jumps on the couch and you yell no, that's punishment, right?
Mm-hmm.
So over time, the puppy starts to learn what actions get rewards and what don't, what gets me a negative reward. And it keeps adjusting its behavior to get more rewards and fewer punishments.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so in AI terms, we have an agent that's like a robot or an actual AI or a chatbot. Um, and it tries different actions, and it tries those actions in some form of environment. In most cases, it's a testing environment like a video game, maybe a stock market, or like self-driving cars. And it gets rewarded based on the rewards and penalties. This I laugh because of the self-driving car. Like, what penalties do you get
Who are you
if
gonna
you hit
penalize?
someone,
Right?
right?
Yeah,
Um,
those are in the challenges.
um, but essentially, what happens is that um, it, they're virtual rewards, right? You're kind of just gauging, hey, based on what you just did, this was wrong, so don't do that again. So it knows, it kind of just out of all of the actions that it has ability to do for that specific task, it's going to rank that action the lowest compared to the other one. So it wouldn't select that as part of its um, process map, I guess, or reasoning map. And so that's where um, I spoke about this a little bit with the deep seek, with the deep thinking.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that the deep seek folks did was create a really good reinforcement learning, um, for the level of um, the level that that language model was at, right? So um,
You made the DeepSeek show you how they are thinking, right? I remember you
correct.
said
That well, that's what that, yeah, that's the reasoning. That's where that
reasoning. Yeah.
yeah, the
Hmm.
reasoning. So that's where I think that's why you have such a good reasoning feedback on DeepSeek, because they do have a really good reinforcement learning. So it's actually really able to kind of figure out, okay, hey, I did this because this is the right thing to do based off the data that I have. So anyways, so you have the environment, which could be a video game, stock market, or self-driving cars. It gets rewarded based on its actions, and then it kind of just learns on, over time, which actions lead to the best rewards based on the 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 questions or the task at hand. So real world example are self-driving cars. So they learn to drive by getting rewarded for safe driving and penalties for mistakes. And then you have like game playing, right? Where you're playing chess and it gets reward by doing things that help it win. Um, and then um, and then robots, right? So they learn to walk by trying movements and then getting feedback on what works and what doesn't work. So you might see a lot of videos of robots trying to take steps, right? So the key idea for reinforcement learning is that it's all about trial and error, and then the AI explores, learns from its mistakes, and then you improve over time. Kind of like how we do, right? um, but yeah, but it's just from a machine perspective.
Yep.
And then decision making. Well, it uses all of the above to provide you an output, right? So that's the deliverable at the end. That's why you do it. All right. So this is kind of the what artificial intelligence is. You have machine learning, which is just um, making figuring out how you're going to get the machine to be able to do its task. And then neural networks could be a the way that it associates all of the data um, that in it needs to do to create essentially a decision. And the deep learning is kind of the reasoning as to that adds weight to the networks to now be able to find and provide you the right response on what you're doing. So this is kind of a very just I want to keep it high level because this is the how this stuff works. um, and not everybody's a data scientist or an AI engineer or a machine learning engineer. So um, this could get
Well,
extremely
this
technical.
this is I think you made a great point about how this doesn't look applicable. However, when I try to go through these terms in ways that because I mean I am struggling to understand too, is so I come to kind of like conclusion of maybe, like, I remember I used to have this boss, and he used to tell me like, "Why do you care?" And I'm like, um, why do you care that there is this data that needs to be inputted here and such and such? Because I am a step by step driven person, and I understand how he didn't care. I get it. However, I just go by, if I were to use this in simple terms to just about anyone, I can only think of the example of McDonald's. Like I told you, McDonald's has been super proud, and I'm thinking I've always studied McDonald's. I remember this from college, how their promise of selling a customer a ready to eat, very fast food And what they did is that they mastered the minute that the little, the what's it called, the bread, everything just comes into the right place at the right time for you to literally just have something ready. So how did they do that, right?
Yeah, by learning,
How
by analyzing making everything a standard process
exactly?
and
And so
improving it, improving it, and improving it, and improving it.
yeah, and so that really does becomes what you give value to your market, and they appreciate it. So if an owner is trying or looking for options, so what is going to be that data? Do you want the freshest salad on your bar? So that means that you have to have a provider that gives you the fresher salad every single day. What do you want as a value added feature? So this doesn't has to do with machine learning. It does.
But it does because yeah, you're absolutely right
Thank
because it's you
you.
keep saying why, you keep asking
Right.
why. Then you get to the level of what these machine learnings have to do because it's literally
Exactly.
here's how many times you have to fail to get it right, right?
Right. And so
Which
and
is
what is that little
someone
variable?
yeah, which is someone either gave you that intelligence or provided you some form of foundation to where now you know that fire hurts,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, I completely agree, and you take that into business as to why things work. What's the best process? What's the best way to build a road? What's it's all of these
Oh
things.
yeah, it's everywhere. So
Exactly.
yeah, I think from the that's why I put it input and output perspective, because everyone is in that input and output. We're doing that every single day, even when we're not really aware of it.
Now I understand it. I didn't understand it before. I was like, what the hell what does this slide mean?
Why do you want? Thank you. I was like, but yeah,
But
you told me,
now
and I
I
get it.
appreciate it.
Yeah, it's.
That
I
doesn't
just.
that slide doesn't tell me anything that we just talked about, but
Yeah.
I understand what you mean now.
Mhm.
Okay,
I
yeah,
I
but
just think
that's
it.
awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so now these are true examples of AI. So these are spam filters with the narrow AI. So
See.
they operate
So
under a limited set of constraints and context. Go ahead.
so you have this user that might be overwhelmed with tasks in your work, and you're trying to find why. I've had many of the coworkers that I used to work with to struggle to maintain a task or something at hand that could help them, answer something. And in all of the cases, I've told them, and how is your inbox? What does it look like? And how come maybe you have not applied some filters that might help you, be more responsive and so on. I thought that was a really good
Yeah.
example.
Then
Yeah,
we
you
have
went through the self-driving and the chess player. We
yeah.
covered those. But I
Yeah,
think
so these are what they're called, right? So you have reactive machines, so based on the input it provides. But if we go back to the chess players with a reactive machine, there's no memory of past games, right? So it's literally playing you
the now.
yeah, and it knows how to play the game, and it knows the rules of the game, and it knows how it would play, but it doesn't know what your style is. It has no data as to who you are, how you play, what are your moves, right? Which which is kind of what a limited memory AI would do. It's like, okay, now it does have that data, and so it will probably beat you every single time once it understands you, right? Um, or once it knows what your moves are. If it knows your future, it can predict how to beat you a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so that's kind of this is what reactive is that all it does is it knows how to pass the butter, and it knows how
Hmm.
to um,
It
um,
knows the AI
it knows
knows
the
that
rules.
the AI knows how to live in the now more than we do.
Exactly. Yeah, it's in the present moment. It has no history of the past and does not care about the future. It just does. Right? It's right now, and all it knows is how to do those specific instructions. That it just knows its specific instructions. My job is to pass the butter on this table, and that's it.
And win.
And oh yeah, and listening to that trigger point. What's going to trigger me to pass the butter?
Yeah.
Right?
The probability of my next move to be the best one.
Yep. And
Oh,
then you
that's
have
awesome.
the limited memory AI, which is where um, kind of where we're going,
Yeah.
and we're trying to expand that memory. Imagine we get to a point where it knows everything all at once. That's what quantum computers are for. So
It's
what's in
not.
it for you?
Yep. This
So
is it.
yeah, now what are you going to do? So that's what everybody's trying to find right now, right? Where can I plug in AI? How can I use that information to give me um, level the playing field or equalize the playing field a little bit better, right? Um, and that's what we're doing here.
So these are the variables. Um, for some people would be their delivery rate, as far as accomplishing so many transactions in the smallest amount of time, the response time, I think.
Yeah.
For the software development of anyone that is in the field work, for example, they might need to account for parts and inventory and many variables that you just put them on a priority level, and then but where do you get all this data?
Well,
These
that's why
have
it's a yeah. Well, that's where choosing the right systems and choosing um, it really comes down to choosing the right systems. Once you have the systems in place that collect this data for you, you'll be able to measure and track all of your data points, and that's when um, you try to get AI involved to try and now do predictions or do things like that, or some form of algorithms to help you capture predictions. Uh, and then also at the same time, once you have your systems and kind of processes in place, you now have the the view to now use AI to automate some of these things. Um, so that's why these data points are important, because now once you have standardized data points and objects and things like that, and you have the whole view of your business and how you're going to operate in the industry, then you kind of just you have all the pillars. You just need to create the reinforcements.
yes.
So real world machine learning use cases. So online chat. So for customer service, you have online chat bots. You have virtual agents. We built a few of these, so we can definitely help. Then you have some field. So AI helps automate scheduling, predict maintenance needs, and optimize job routes. So that can save time and reduce costs. So um, we've also created an accounting use case here that we've done in the past, where we're essentially doing all of the accounts payables, vendor payments. Um, and so from an accounting perspective, that is also something that we can assist on. So if you need your AP processes to be optimized, we've done it. So we know what it takes to do that and solve that problem.
Mm, I only mentioned the RPA on the accounting. I wasn't. I feel like I was being short-sighted with the list, because I wanted to like give one example, but RPA, as we have covered in other videos, has other applications. So I know many other industries uses them, like call centers and uh, you know real time responses that of massive data that needs to be what do you call crunch into some numbers in order to provide the feedback to the user immediately. So, but there are many cases
Right.
for that.
Yeah, I mean, you can use AI in a lot of cases. So I mean, it's in every industry. Every industry is a little bit different. So if you need to review something, if you need to upload a document, if you need to find a document, if you need to find any type of information, that's when AI comes into a fold, right? If you need information to be from one place to another, um, that's a good way to do it as well. So yeah, then what's next? At the end of the day, the right data helps you make smarter decisions. So reduce cost and improve your service. So
So,
go ahead.
what's the one metric you check first every morning?
Am I awake? What is it?
What's the one metric you check first every morning?
Can I see? I open my
Can I?
eyes.
Oh yeah, that's a very high level, high level stuff. I'm grateful for my sight. Thank
Can
you
I
so much
see?
for this
Can
buddy.
I breathe? Can I get up?
Super high level.
So what's the one metric you check in first? You check first every morning. Man, why is that so hard to say? What's the one metric you check first every morning?
Okay.
Hmm.
For some people, might be their inbox. For all, well, most of the people, maybe their inbox,
A task list, a to-do
a
list.
task list to do. Hmm.
Yeah, my task list starts with opening my eyes.
That's the very first thing. Yeah, that's
Step one.
super valid as a response, huh? Completely aware of being alive.
um, yeah, you have to enjoy every second of it. Um, so okay, that some people are dashboards, task lists, their calendar, um, brush their teeth, and then
Important.
while they're brushing their teeth, they're going over their calendar. Right? There's a lot of ways to do it.
So
Do we
that's
have
the
any?
first
Do we
metric.
have anything in the chat? Let's see. Let's check the chats. No, nothing here. Nothing over here. Let's check. Nothing on YouTube. Yeah. All right. What's the first metric you check every morning, Laura?
I check website visitors. Thank you, AI.
There you go.
Yes.
Have, have we gotten? Do we get a few? How's the metric look?
It's less than 10 a day, but it's a little some for weekends. It's a little above 10 for an everyday metric. Um, we have some website visitors that stay a little bit longer, um, and we're trying to grow that.
Yeah. Awesome. We'll
Hmm.
get there.
We also get in. what I was trying to get this metric going from statistics was the visitors that come back, because every time, well, should I tell them in here live how much of a stalker I am? should,
How much of a
should I?
sucker? What do you say?
How much of
What's
a
it about? What?
stalker?
About our the website tool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we have this tool. I'll tell them that way. It's
How
they
to
can't
build
come
that.
at you. Yeah, that way they can't come at you.
Mm-hmm.
We have this tool that essentially can kind of map who the person is that visited the website. And so it kind of gives us it tries to give us their email, um, based off of their connection. Um, so that's why the cookies are very important, guys. When a website has, hey, do you accept the cookies? That's why. um, and so we get a lot of that data, and we're able to sometimes even see their LinkedIn profile and stuff like that. But yeah,
I think for the majority, and to be fair, um, well, not trying to be fair, just to leave it with a comment. I think I like when I find engaging websites, because it's almost like the exact same. It's it's a sense of appreciation in what we send them or try to engage with them again is only to know more about them, right?
right.
So in the same sense, I think that when I allow all of the cookies, or I only put the necessary cookies, I just go by, let's just see what your content is and how can I appreciate it, because I'm also a visitor of websites too. So I think it's only for the good.
Yeah, I mean we definitely only use it for good,
Hmm.
and then also you are on our website for a reason, and we
Exactly.
if we can accelerate that reason and get straight to the value that we provide, um, then we both win, right? You wasted less time, we wasted less time. Let's get to work.
That's right.
um, so closing thoughts. Yeah, it's all strategy, right? Like there's not a right or wrong way. There's only doing, and you have to if you're going to create an AI from scratch, you it's a completely just a pass fail iteration over and over and over and over again until you get exactly what you want, and you need a lot of data, and a lot of time, because whoever's building this, if they're going to supervise it and train it and say this is this and this is that, and provide all that information, then that could that could take some time, and it requires a lot of effort and a lot of focus, especially from the person that's doing it, that's managing that project. So there's a lot of work that goes into these models. There's a lot of things that needs to be aware of, um, and really, just making sure that you're if you are going to take this type of project, that you understand the level of effort that it requires to take on that type of project, and then also making sure that the use case is really defined, because you're going to be spending some money, and making sure that not only it can continue to operate and provide you value, but also um, that it's actually doing the job it's supposed to be doing.
Hmm. We went through some of those ways to measure the ROI, and one of them, I think it was the long term um, scalability for it. And obviously, you always start small. Like many of our clients, they just start with something and see where it leads. And obviously, it's one thing to consider.
Yeah, it's always going to be something that requires some level of precision that is repeatable. That it's it's a very predictable line of work, and so it's a very predictable task, at least for right now. And that's where we're seeing a lot of businesses provide a lot of opportunities in as well, and and converting it into not a manual task heavy role, but into a more of a supervisory um, task process, like task or process owner type of you know level, with the role kind of shifts into more of a process owner role, rather than, hey, I manage and manually process this task, right? The role now flips, and now it's like I am now the owner of this process, and so now I make sure that the process is providing the outputs um, that require. So we're really just making the humans the observers of and process owners, right? And so that's how you get the best ROI from AI, because now one human can do so much more um, in the business than just doing that manual task, because everything takes time, and that's the one thing we all don't get back as humans is time. So we have to learn how to maximize our time.
Yep.
And so in the next session, AI in everyday life. Ooh, that's gonna be fun. I can show you guys how I um, do almost everything now, even with my children and stuff like that. Challenges of AI, the future of AI, and then later on this month, so um, how AI is changing field service work, and then IT governance frameworks. All right. So on Thursday, we'll be covering the everyday life with AI.
Yes.
Okay.
I got some ideas, but if
Whoa, I
you
can't even see this blue. What's going on over here? What's that blue?
oh, something happened over there.
Yeah, something
Okay.
did. Anyways, um,
Does this change his life?
yeah. Ooh, look at that.
Ooh, look at that.
Hey guys, it was a transit. It was a transition. There was nothing wrong. There's just a really long transition event right there.
Thank you, AI.
Um, so
Uh,
wait, are we broadcasting that we're looking for an IT help desk technician? Is
oh,
that an
why don't we
IT
do
help desk
that?
opportunity? What does the IT help desk opportunity stand for here?
Um,
Oh, the event, the
the,
workshop.
I think we were both kind of like in the same idea, but you're right. It's like you're right. Also, we do need some IT help. Um, actually,
Well, we
and
need an IT help desk technician to assist
yes,
us with some work. We
yes.
don't need IT help.
No, but this is a transition in which we say this is a place, this is a workshop for you.
Gotcha.
So I'm thinking this slide will be gone next Thursday because we're gonna com- like change
We're
what.
changing a whole bunch of stuff.
Yes.
We're gonna be named Techno Happy Hour. We're gonna do the work. It's still gonna be the same workshop, but we're just kind of
Oh,
doing
this
a little
wasn't changed.
rename.
I'm working
It's
on
okay.
another blog post.
We've been really busy over here, and so as you can see, it's leaking into. I'm glad that this is the only thing that's going wrong right now.
Yes.
So
Um.
this is a really good problem to have, guys. We're super busy outside of the workshops
Mhm.
that we're trying to keep up with this type of work, but um, this is kind of a lower priority, because it isn't a revenue generating action as I would say it in our
Mhm.
um, leadership. But we definitely do. we're committed to showing up um, at every Tuesday and Thursday.
It's
Uh,
helping
for an hour.
SEO.
Yeah, and that's too. It's content. We're getting out there as well, but
Yes,
that's not the purpose of this. The purpose of this is to help anybody that needs it
support.
during this time.
Yep.
So we're going to
That needs
continue.
IT help desk. You see?
That needs the IT help desk opportunity. It's you know technology is transforming pretty much how we live, work, and even think about problems. So let's if there's anything that we can help you with, that's what we're here for. Um, Last week we have a blog post. It's on the common pitfalls in software development, and then also reducing technical debt before it costs you, before it reduces you.
Where is this? So
um, yeah,
I didn't put it over there, but I am working on another blog post, uh, which
we
let's
could talk about
see.
it on Thursday.
Yeah, it's weird because I had it here and then, well,
It's
but
okay.
yeah, I'll present it on Thursday.
Very good. So, guys, as always, if you have any questions, send it to us. We hope you learned something new with us with our examples. And email us at info@ebdevtech.com or visit our website. Or if you want to do business with us, um, same thing. Website, here's the phone number on the screen. And we're happy to help you however you need us. Always at your service. Alrighty, guys, take care.
Goodbye.
That was fun.
Yes.